Which now I'm like, what is all this stuff on the map I put down here at the bottom?
I don't know. I just see you
Mini
got
green
like
boxes.
in the bar. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 torches and a little door icon.
Yep. Apparently they're not going anywhere. Oh, wait! I just found out how you delete them.
Yep. But it's funny. I can open and close the little door. It's like
Can
cool.
you? Because I just locked it, so now you can't.
Oh, now I can't.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And look, it's now a secret door.
Nice. So theoretically, you should be able to put it here and then let us open and close for lighting, right?
Yep.
Very cool.
However, I can delete the torches. I cannot delete the door.
It disappeared. Oh no, it's back. The door's
I put it
back.
To secret.
Oh, no.
So if I put it to secret door, you don't see it.
Probably not. Oh,
So
yep,
there.
it's gone now.
I have disappeared the door on your screen, but it's still tormenting me on mine.
Yeah, magic door's gone.
So how is everybody doing?
Been a
PG.
hell of a week.
It's
Yep.
Friday, thank God.
It is Friday.
Oh, it was a long week, but now I got a fun month coming, or 4 weeks.
That's
A certain office person's gone for a month, so.
Oh dear.
I was gonna totally
Yeah.
say I got a 4-day weekend here. No, I'm not.
What?
Yeah, we got 4-day weekends.
Got
Nice.
some days off for somebody's birthday.
Ah, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't have that. Oh, crap. Oh, I know Erickson everywhere, but I don't see or hear him.
Maybe.
He's in
Oh.
stealth mode.
I heard
Ah.
him.
I heard something.
And I will totally throw it out there that Tucson Comic Con is only 3 weeks away.
Oh, hush.
Aye.
I'm not prepared.
I have nothing prepared for it.
I think I'm doing panels.
You should find out. Kind of important to know if you are.
Kinda.
So the
Sure I
program
am.
has not been released yet. They're waiting till last minute, apparently. It's a bizarro year. We have
I
Wild
think
Wild
I'm-
West releasing its programming months ahead of schedule, and all the things early.
Which is like ridiculously unheard of. They are
Mhm.
notoriously procrastinating, and
And then we've got San Diego. We have Tucson Comic Con not releasing anything other than the guests. However, this year you can go there and see Coral from The Walking Dead.
Coral.
And of course, there's a bunch of other people. You know, one of the best werewolves and writers ever and directors from Underworld. He's going to be there.
Nice.
Which
Nice.
werewolf?
Remember Underworld, the very large gentleman who was the big badass werewolf with the ultimate deep voice,
Oh.
and also known for his directing? He's going to be there. But of course, they have not released the program yet, so we don't know what times and who's doing what panel-wise and stuff like that.
Nice.
Hopefully they will be releasing it soon, since it's only a few weeks away. Though a lot of people are kind of, wrinkled on the nose because they didn't do volunteers this year.
Oh, really?
But I think that's also kind of the flack from Phoenix Fan Fusion and their volunteers. Because if your con is for profit, you cannot have unpaid volunteers.
Unpaid volunteers. You have to have.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's.
So if
It's
your if your
law.
event is a non-profit, you can have volunteers all day long. But if you're
Un-
for profit, you cannot have unpaid volunteers because they're working and you're a for-profit company. So it'd be like having,
So you're basically making profit off of slave labor.
yeah.
No, that's bullshit.
That's
If somebody just wants to go help and not get paid, I mean, you might have people out there that can't get paid because they have disabilities and on Social Security or different things,
Mhm.
but they want to come and help. So now they can't do that.
Yeah, it's one of those funky legal things because
Well, some
sort of
funky
like
legal somebody made up, I think.
yeah.
No, it was because of I think was it I forget which con it was. Was it but basically they were abused. They were abusing the labor
Yeah.
dramatically. And so a few bad apples ruined for the whole bunch kind of thing.
Yeah, I
And
don't know.
remember,
'Cause,
technically, when you have volunteers, it can be dangerous because you're liability for them if they get hurt and stuff.
well, same as an employee, but
Well, that's the trick though. An employee's got workman's comp protection,
Hmm.
whereas a volunteer technically doesn't.
yeah, well,
I don't know. We don't know the
it'll-
laws on it
Yeah.
specifically, but it is a law now.
Yeah, well, there's other people that I'm sure there's plenty of other companies that use volunteers that are for-profit companies, but yeah, no, I mean you'll just cut out any kind of veteran that's on
Benefits.
benefit. Well, not if, just because you're on benefits, but if you're unemployable for a benefit, that means you can't work. So now if they're involved in cons and that's what they do on their downtime and like to volunteer and help, well, now they can't do that.
Yeah.
And predominantly most volunteers do it to get in free,
Right. Right.
The equivalent exchange. I will give you my time and energy in exchange for comp tickets.
Yep.
And most volunteers I know put in more hours than the ticket's worth anyway.
Yeah.
But
more.
No,
that's
they
just 'cause
do,
they
but
love the cons.
right. So, but no, it's something they've made. I'm sure there's no actual labor law against that, but
Or it could be something the big cons, because they do
right.
run roughshod over the smaller ones now.
Yeah, whoever, whatever authority they report up to for cons or whatever to be sanctioned came down with for whatever, and so.
I mean, hey, look at Phoenix Comic Con when they lost the name Comic Con because
Yeah.
San Diego Comic Con said we own that.
Yep. Yeah. Nah, just like I said, I can see people being upset and butthurt on the other side that now can't volunteer because they under unemployable status for disability or whatever, but that's their life to get out and do.
Yeah, I totally understand that one because after all, we've got a few non-for-profit cons that we enjoy that still have beautiful volunteer programs.
Yep.
So we have a decision. It's 7:40, and I definitely think Scott's not up for gaming, which he needs to be recuperating. So, do we want to just do RPG a day and then call it a night, or do we want to try to do something? I'm leaving it up to you three.
I'm personally game either way.
What's the RPG day?
So RPG a day. Today is August the 11th. Let's see what the question prompt is for the 11th.
Yeah, I mean, for me, either way works because either way I get to sit and sip and enjoy my Black Butte whiskey from Bend, Oregon. It's a wonderful sipping whiskey that my buddy brought back for me from their trip up there. I watch their house when they go on trips. So they spent like a month up in Bend, Oregon.
Oh, okay. Well, that's very nice.
Just in time for the heat that came. And so they bring me back goodies. They went last year for the first time. So I've been watching I'm like their family house watcher. I watched it's a friend of mine of like 40 some years. I watched his house when we were kids when they went on family vacation, to,
Aw.
for his parents, and I watch his house now when him and his wife go on vacation and stuff. So,
Awesome.
yeah. But it's some amazing sipping whiskey. Oh my God.
That's an awesome thing.
Has like a really strong nose. You're thinking, oh, it's going to have a bite. And then you take a sip and you're like, oh.
Jim got to taste.
Too smooth.
It's like it's gone already. That went too quick.
When we went to Flagstaff, Jim got to try Indian brandy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's made from cashews.
Bless you.
Yeah.
But it was really quite
really floral,
neat.
but doesn't taste floral. It was interesting.
It wasn't Old Monk, was it?
No.
Okay. I think that's the name of it. It's like Old Monk, and that's some nasty Indian, like rum or something like that.
No, this was actually quite smooth and had a really interesting.
Yeah, it comes off all florally on the notes, but then as soon as you're sipping it, it just has this warm, nutty taste.
It's really quite good.
Yeah, Old Monk rum, an iconic vatted, V-A-T-T-E-D, vatted Indian dark rum, and launched in 1954. This from a country I don't think is big on drinking normally. So, yeah, no.
That was why the brandy surprised me, because I'm just like, I've not heard of this before.
Yeah.
And then a friend ordered it, and we all took a sniff of the floral notes, and I'm like, okay, I gotta see what this tastes like. He had
seen it on he had read about it in a book.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, I actually have the opportunity to try it. So
yeah, it was a little on the hot side, it wasn't very smooth, but it was nice with a pleasant warmth, and it had a weird off nutty flavor. You know how like you get like that
but
almost
it was
Amarillo,
pleasant.
but not coffee tasting Amarillo?
Right. Okay.
Yeah, because I can't stand coffee. It was actually really quite pleasant.
Yeah, it was a good.
It was
brandy.
Different. I've never had anything quite like it before.
Cool.
Now I'm totally thinking we need to have what alcohols would you pair with what RPG?
Actually, that is a really good suggestion. You should do that for.
And we know that
to them for next year.
We know that Cthulhu would be absinthe all the way.
Yeah.
The greenest absinthe you can find.
Wyrmwood.
So, by the way, for RPG A Day 2023, it is the weirdest game you've played.
Weird? Oh,
That's a hard one, because y'all are a bunch of weirdos.
Right?
Yeah.
So weird definition.
Weird.
So,
in terms of weirdness, it would have to be either Nobilis or Paranoia.
Ooh,
Paranoia.
How do you die 7 times in the first hour?
Sometimes you die during character creation.
Yep.
Right.
See, Kelly, I have not subjected you to Paranoia because it's one of those games where your character will be like the 8th clone of yourself.
Yeah.
Because people will kill each other, the environment will kill each other. The light blinking Morse code that anyone not reading this message is a spy will kill everybody.
Well, it'll kill you because it was blinking in green and you were red.
Right? Yeah, it's been so long since I played that one.
Basically, think of it this way, Kelly. Paranoia is a game, the setting is basically Orson Welles' worst nightmare, where the state is running everything, and every faction has its own tinfoil hat conspiracy.
No, I don't think I could.
And
that would just frustrate the hell out of me.
And you may all just be janitors that are supposed to clean a hallway, not cross a line.
Yeah.
It's like the newest edition. I'm pretty sure is ultraviolet. I think I have it, but it's effectively you live in. Do you ever play the game Portal with GLaDOS?
No,
But she knows of Portal.
Yeah,
I can sing the song.
yeah, you live in a giant underground complex, and you work as a troubleshooter for the GLaDOS type supercomputer, which means that you find trouble and shoot it. And as part of being a good citizen to this computer, you hate all forms of mutants and secret societies, which means that every single character is, of course, a member of a secret society and is a mutant. And these are secret societies that are wonderful. Like, if I remember correctly, the communists are based on the writings of Groucho Marx, that famous writer.
The wrong Marx brother.
Yeah, not actual Marxism, but
it's fun.
It's ridiculous. It's totally a drinking game.
Yeah,
it's not a long-term campaign. It's like
you can there's a few different ways you can play it. You can play it straight, which is terrifying. It is the sci-fi nightmare future, or you could play it like the slapstick that it was originally envisioned as.
Yeah, if you play it serious, it is the Orson Welles nightmare. Because, of course, everyone is a cloned mutant of what they originally were, so you hate yourself regardless.
Yeah, it's crazy. That would be probably one of the weirdest.
I kind of agree on that one. Paranoia is wackadoodle nuts when you play it. And the thing is, as a GM, you have to be careful to really be on the ball, because if you're distracted at any point, you can totally miss people doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'd be like, wait a minute, did you say blah, blah, blah? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And you're like, damn it, I missed it. I could have killed you.
Right?
Anything
you do, so likely chance that you'll get killed and reincarnated.
Yep.
New clone.
So, see, Kelly, as soon as you die, basically your body gets disposed of, and a little laundry chute opens up and your clone slithers out. Almost like Venture Brothers. You know how when the boys would die, they'd have clones ready and waiting?
Uh-huh.
That's totally paranoia. So as soon as you die, you're immediately replaced by your next clone. Who's going to be a little more wrong. Which then, of course, creates this death spiral as you guys die and reincarnate and come back a little more wrong each time.
A little more wrong.
Yeah.
Because each clone is a bad photocopy of a bad fax.
Yeah. I'm trying to think something else. I mean, Numenera, kind of, but it's not really weird. But
I don't know. The rules are kind of weird to me. It's like a little too unstructured.
What, Numenera?
Yeah.
I kind of like. Well, you got a structure. Your character creation is really simple. You come up with the terms to describe them, and that's you.
I'm a blank who blanks, but then I have to be a mathematician. See, Kelly doesn't like math, and we know Numenera is very crunchy with the math.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally see where Cook was coming up with his math for that, because it does kind of blend Savage Worlds mechanics with D20 systems mechanics, and the whole effort is fun, in my opinion, because it proves that I'm spending a metric to make it easier.
Right.
And I spend my speed to do it to downgrade the target number. But then again, it goes back to the THACO days where you need a chart to keep track of what the number is. Though I will
definitely a little more crunchy on that.
I will definitely say as a GM, it's great because you don't roll any dice. And you just wait for somebody to roll bad and say, GM intrusion time. You didn't suck, but here's something interesting that happens.
Yeah. Have you
and
done
by the way,
Numenera at all, Eric?
I'm sorry, my face is full of vegetables.
Oh.
Oh my God! Someone save him from the vegetables. It's Attack of the
No,
Killer Vegetables.
I haven't
Attack.
played that one. I'm completely unfamiliar with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's really weird. It's kind of, you're what was it?
Well,
It's
let's
like
start
you're
with the setting. It's the 9th generation of the Earth. So 9
Mhm.
civilizations 8 civilizations have come and gone and been wiped off the Earth, and you are on the 9th life cycle of Earth. So of course, it's now a hodgepodge of everything left over brought to the present. So you have your modern, what could be classified as human, doesn't realize where a lot of stuff actually is that used to exist. You totally have that Ariel the mermaid thing pulling out the Farfel Dinger and trying to explain what this thing is, and it's really just a fork.
The dingle hopper.
The dingle hopper. And of course, you've got superpower type people, you've got technology, psychic people. Think of anything you could have seen in the Planet of the Apes TV show, that's totally a Numenera. And when you come up with your character, you are a blank blank who blanks. So you could say,
Right.
I am a clever, so I have some powers from being clever, glaive, which means I use a big two-handed weapon, who's covered in ice. So I have Iceman powers on top of it. And you put all 3 of those together, and those are your abilities. When it comes to stats, you have 3 stats. You've got strength,
Yeah, I don't even remember.
prowess, strength, mental, and speed. And you can spend the different character builds can spend those points as hit points or as the ability to reduce the target number to do something. So when you do it, everything is a static number. So if you're like fighting, say, a high level monster, you got to roll a 17 or higher to hit the monster or avoid the monster's attacks. So when it swings at you, you have to dodge. Well, if you're using speed, you can actually donate one of your speed hit points to drop that 17 down to a 13. It's an increment. I think 4 is the increment.
Yeah, it's some weird. Yeah,
basically,
again,
you can
crunchy,
spend
weird.
your hit points to make it easier to accomplish. Now, each build, like you've got your glaive, you've got your jack of all trades, you've got your speedster type thing. Each one of them are good at one of those 3 categories of speed, mental, or strength, and they reduce the cost of spending those points. So instead of spending 2, you'd only be spending 1 per time you do this, because it shows that you have a reserve of that. But the problem is that's your hit points as well as your economy to spend like fate points. So you can choose to drop yourself out, and it just takes time to build those numbers back up. And then the cool part of the game is you have your Numenera, which is magic MacGuffin stuff that we don't know what it really is in real life. But in the game, this is the cool meta magic thing that it can be, because the technology is so uber, it appears as if magic. So it could totally be you've got a condenser, and it's basically full of Freon, and you're pulling a plug and throwing it at something. Well, in game, the Numenera is a frost bomb that slows down your targets, And you can only have so many Numenera, so it makes you spend
or you're overloaded.
Yeah, or the Numenera start combining themselves into something new.
Yeah. Some are like one-time use, weird functions. Some are more permanent type function and can be kept longer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah, it's like, oh, you find a thing that kind of looks like a pin, and then you're trying to figure out, okay, what is this? And, it has some weird effect that you might not expect.
Yeah, it's basically like Gamma World dialed up to a 10.
Yeah.
Because the whole idea is as the GM, you're supposed to be describing these things as vague as possible. So even if you're describing something as simple as a red wagon, you want to vague it out so the players are still guessing at what this contraption is, which is fun. I mean, it really is, because then you're basically describing something really mundane and simple, but to these adventurers who don't understand what this is, it's amazing.
Yeah. But literally the character, the creation is literally I'm a blank that blanks. It's like, oh,
Yep.
okay, that's the whole creation of your character.
And pretty much
about as
for
basic.
the Strange, which is I like the Strange better than Numenera myself, because the Strange is totally Stargate with the same game mechanics.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and with the Strange is most players are going to be like your Stargate crew, that you have either a portal that your company owns, or that you guys can transcend mentally by meditating together to different realms. And the cool thing with that one is you can say, I am a clever archer who thinks well in a pinch. And when you transport to, say, Pyramid Egypt world, you now get to change that third aspect of yourself to something local on the new planet, because you basically get to adapt to the world. So your characters are technically changing every couple of levels when you go to these different places.
That's cool.
And you can have recursions, is what they call the other dimensions, of anything. So there's totally like the Alice in Wonderland recursion, because enough people have thought about that the collective psyches have created a recursion of that. There's totally the Dr. Moriarty's steampunk world, where it's Dr. Moriarty and all of his steampunk contraptions. And of course, the bunch of the fluff books they have, there's like one book that's got like 80 different recursions, because since you're describing them so vague, it's super easy to stat things out.
Okay. That's cool. But I think Paranoia still kind of hits the number one.
Yeah, Paranoia hits the weirdest one there. What do you got for weirdest, Kelly?
That is a good question. I mean, and the funny thing is like that a board game is coming to my head, not an RPG, but the weirdest. I mean, Numenera, yeah. Nah, I got nothing. All I can think of is that horrible.
Yeah, weird's one of those odd categories.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, the Numenera is pretty weird.
Paranoia would definitely be a
for
drinking.
me.
It totally embraces its weirdness. That's totally the literally in the bylines from the creator. He's like, embrace the weird, embrace the Numenera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I would have to go with that one as well.
Okay. See, I will totally throw it out there. The 6th, 7th edition of Gamma World.
Oh, well.
That was the one where Wizards of the Coast tried reinventing it, and you literally pulled 2 cards from a deck, and you were a blank and blank. So it's like you are an automaton and an ice monster. Because they made
prefer the original way.
Yeah, the actual rolling percentile stuff.
But I mean, and you could get some of the craziest combinations. Like, I think it was my sister or something. She had rolled an owl.
That was pretty harsh.
Who was afraid of the dark. A mutated owl afraid of the dark. It's an owl!
That's awesome.
And it's afraid of the dark. I mean, we got quite the kick out of that.
I mean, I just gotta say, why wouldn't they be afraid of the dark? They know the shit that's out there.
Right?
Yeah, but being afraid of the dark itself?
Yeah, well, when that's your hunting time and everything else, and that's a problem.
I mean, if I was an Arizona desert owl, I'd be terrified of the dark. All the other bigger owls are out there.
Right?
But so I like the original one. It was,
mm-hmm.
It was a lot more crunchy on certain things, but it kind of gave you a little more. It didn't pigeonhole you as much, I think.
Yeah, as you can still do your apocalyptic game without being wrecked.
Yeah.
Like I'm a fan of Mutant Year Zero, but one of the problems is as you play that game and your character keeps mutating and basically growing weaker and weaker and weaker because he mutates.
Oh, yeah.
Mutant Year Zero is weird in that the random mutations happen, but the problem is as you get more powerful in the mutations, you literally are dying just to get more powerful.
Yeah. I'm still kind of hung up on the owl now. That would be... Well, no, because, I mean, that would be rough. They don't know. So when I was at my cousin's out by, she lives out in Vale, and she has like a little ground pond little area. And I looked out there one day, and there's this huge great horned owl, middle of the day, sitting there drinking out of the water, surrounded by like quail and dove.
Oh my God! And the quail and the dove were fine with this?
Well, they don't interact with them because they bed down at night, so they don't deal with an owl. And the owl apparently didn't know any better because, he's a nighttime creature for hunting. So none of these are hunting critters that they normally look for. So
you're not a field mouse or a little bat.
Right. So I'm like, oh, that's really weird.
The lion and the lamb are laying down together.
Yeah, it's like they don't know to be afraid of him, and he's like, well, I don't know. Is this food? I don't know. I'm here for water because my food's out at night and run around the ground and
because it's hella hot out there.
Yeah. So it was really cool. I was just like, wow.
Though I will throw one last one out there for weirdest game. Totally a certain tentacle ethermancer in our Genesis steampunk-ish game that went weird.
That sounds so normal.
Right.
But also charming and intelligent.
Yeah. It's like, wait, how are you going to make this sound weird?
Well, it sounded weirder the other day on our salvage game when Joseph was describing some of the actions that the group took back in the day.
Right.
Of course, starting with him crippling children.
Oh, nice.
That was when he played his shapeshifter. And the fact that we both immediately said, but our Aethermancer could have totally given the kids tentacles.
I'm surprised he didn't bring up the whole weird WrestleMania cannon ship thing.
He never brought that up. I think we're still traumatized and trying to block that out.
Yeah.
Victorian steampunk post, war John Cena in the fighting ring.
Oh no.
Yes, they even did the da 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 da.
Jeez.
I totally blame it because it was a Friday night game, and after you're exhausted at work, you have to vent on a Friday night and let whatever insanity crawls out of your brain happen.
Right. Well, yeah. The likelihood of the alcohol flowing might be a little higher. Because work the next day.
I think only once did we ever, back when we gamed at the store, bring booze in.
Well, yeah, legally, technically weren't able to before the alcohol, but I know, like, if you gamed with Mark or, you'd... we're just discreet about it, then yes, it did happen. People, brought stuff in, but...
There was the one time I brought in dinner for us, and I'm pretty sure I brought a couple bottles of wine that mysteriously disappeared.
Mm-hmm. That was one of the times I was referring to.
Yeah.
Well, the food was amazing. I don't know about the wine, but the food was wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. He knew there was some of that going along as long as you, like, if we had like one of the epic games where we were, playing for like 12 hours or what, we had kind of in the back, and you kind of went and discreetly in the back room and poured it. And
I observed a few of those that it wasn't discreet.
Yes.
Of course, that was also when somebody was dealing with some issues. So.
Right. Oh well, yeah. There's a particular individual that wasn't so discreet, but. Um, yeah.
But now there's a bar in the back of the game store, and that's awesome for everybody.
Well, it is, and yeah, now he can't allow that because then that puts the license at risk.
Yep. So I definitely think that wraps up weirdest game you've played. Do you guys want to do tomorrow's since it's almost the 12th?
Sure.
Yeah.
So for RPG a Day 2023, August the 12th, it is oldest game that you still play. And I'm not talking about Nurse.
Well, that for me is going to be Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, sure, it's evolved, but it's the oldest game, that I still play very regularly. So,
yeah,
I mean,
pretty much.
And I've played pretty much every incarnation of it. But I very much like that edition.
Mm-hmm.
I very much like it. I love the whole inspiration, the personality traits, and playing to those items. I find it very enjoyable, and the whole, I can get inspiration for being this character, and it allows me to role play that character, and make it different from others, even if it's the same. Like if it's a cleric, I have a number of clerics, but each one is very different because each one of them has a different background and stuff. So
it's funny you mention inspiration. That's if you have a GM that actually gives out inspiration. But I played with a particular individual GM that is the most stingy I've ever played with inspiration.
Well, that is unfortunate.
Because that does kill a lot of the new nuance to the D&D. Because hey, I was a great fan of when they went from 4th edition with the action point to the you can award an action point for something cool to inspiration being the hey, if they play their character in character, give them a point.
Yeah, or come up with something clever or whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It definitely makes for more of a reason for roleplay, which, and it's funny because in 4th edition, I think that was the biggest one when people complained about my players aren't role playing, they're dice role playing. Because, of course, in 4th edition, they did come up with some cool mechanics that I think one of the biggest problems in 4th with that one is the old school games, I had no problem seeing people role play. It was a lot of the new folks picking up the game that didn't get the role playing aspect. And that's not really the rules' fault. It's the hey GMs, are you doing funny voices? Are you role playing? Because that's how you get your players to do it.
Wow, but that's also around a generation where it was, video games, and so maybe we're trying to play a role playing game like a video game. So
yeah.
So. But yeah, the particular GM I won't mention by name. We're doing Pathfinder right now, and you get hero points instead of inspiration. But part of the game mechanic is you get get one at the start of each game session, which he hates. It's kills him that we get those, and then pretty much that's the only ones we ever see. We never get any others above that throughout the game.
Well, yeah, because he's already pissed off that he's not going to want. Okay, yeah. I mean,
you damn kids, get your hero points off my yard.
Yeah,
but see, and I have difficulty with that because it's well, if your players aren't having any fun, and if you're engineering it just to kill them,
Well, he doesn't do that, but.
But you're also limiting the ability for the player to pull out that wow moment.
But it also affects the game mechanically. It's like that the combats you're supposed to have these points available for extraordinary moments to balance the encounter.
Yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me of a time I played Scion a couple of years ago, maybe 20, where you play as demigods. It's a White Wolf
Mhm.
game,
Oh yeah,
and
I love
Great White
Scion.
Wolf game.
it's wonderful. But the DM, the storyteller, thought that it was overpowered for our characters to have auto successes. When you put points into as a scion, when you put points into a skill, because you're a god, you get an automatic success for each skill point you put in there.
That's
And then
the point.
and then he would complain why our characters were unable to kill the things we were supposed to when we were getting 1/3 of the successes we were supposed to.
Oh.
Exactly. I mean, you need those in order to maximize your damage. I mean,
Yeah.
because
the way the game
otherwise,
mechanic works, you're not hitting, and you're not hitting enough to bump up your damage points. I mean, I love Scion because it is way over the top gonzo powerful. That's the whole point. You're freaking
Yes.
demigods that can burn legend and re-roll the dice because I said so.
Right.
It is White Wolf where you can burn a point of willpower to
Yeah.
just succeed,
But when you look at Scion from the perspective of vanilla World of Darkness, it seems overpowered. I'm sure.
Yeah, I've seen some vampires that are ridiculous. You put all your points into obfuscate and celerity, and you're ridiculous.
So back to the topic. This one's a little bit more informal, and it happens more when people are drinking. But I think I've been playing The Extraordinary Adventures of Baron Munchausen for since 2000 or so, maybe earlier than that. Are you familiar with this?
Mm-hmm.
I'm familiar with the movie.
I've got
I didn't know there was
the
a
newest
game.
edition.
So the game is it can be as informal as you want it to be. Imagine the three of us are just sitting in a room drinking and talking, and you have to bullshit an amazing story, and everyone has some money in front of them, and if you tell a really good story, people give you money. And if someone wants to mess up your story, they can give you money, but they get to add a wrinkle to it. And you have to, if you incorporate it well into your story, then you just made money. But if that wrinkle messes up your story, then people aren't going to pay you for that nice story. So it's just it's a little informal, quasi-tipsy storytelling.
Mm-hmm. As I joked with one friend, it's a mix between Harumph and a catfish story.
Yeah.
Well,
because that's totally Baron Munchausen.
Yeah, it also sounds very similar to Balderdash, which if you've never played that board game, I freaking love that game.
Yeah.
It's like you got to make up the answer to the thing, and whoever gets the most votes for their answer wins
Obviously,
that round.
That was the correct answer.
Right. It's like, I bullshitted everybody and made them think that this was the right answer for whatever the hell or definition of whatever the hell that word was.
Balderdash.
So, yeah, that's a great board game.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I can't D&D with.
Yeah, I can't see anything beating D&D for me either. I'm like.
When you start with the box set, it's hard to kind of think.
Yeah. You've just aged yourself into a corner.
Right.
Because it's like anything else came out 5 years after at least.
Yeah, I have here and there gone back to 2E.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have had a few groups where we've gone back and played that. It's so brutal. Nothing worse than being a level
crunchy
1
and not in the meaning of rules.
Well, being a first level mage with 4 whole hit points, and if you're lucky, and then your one spell. So once you popped your spell,
one magic missile. Just single one.
Yeah. You mean holding on to your crossbow for dear life?
Well, as if you're lucky enough to have a crossbow.
And your 1d4 hit points.
Right. Right, because you rolled that shit. It wasn't you start with a max.
Yep. You trip
It's
down
like-
one stairs and you die.
Die.
A cool
Like,
breeze
and-
hits you. You get pneumonia
You-
and die.
You
Yeah,
get
but
one
once-
shot, and then you're using your staff to slightly whack things
Yeah,
at the time
whack and
avoid
pray.
getting hit. And
Yeah.
hide.
It's
But hey,
more of
once
a-
you got up a halfway decent level, then you were like this just
Uber
like
powerful.
cannon. Yeah, uber
Yep.
powerful cannon, but
if your
still
cleric
don't get hit.
and wizard survived, they could run the game, but they had to be protected and nurtured and survive to get there.
Mhm. Yep.
Glass cannons.
Yep. So yeah, it was rough. A lot of dirt naps.
This floor tastes funny.
It's like, oh, we survived the fight. Let me dust myself off here.
But
You're washing blood off. That's cool. You survived and actually got bloody, but here, I'm just getting the dirt off from the dungeon floor here because
I mean, the wizards are the most famous class for how weak they were, but do you remember failing your save against poison in second edition?
oh yeah,
Yeah, it didn't matter who you were, didn't matter where you were sitting, you died.
Didn't matter what you were stung by.
Nope.
It sucked.
yeah, but it's still fun.
See, this is
There's
why
still other elements that I really miss, especially the character aspects, and which particularly leads back to the rogue, where
Mhm.
their rogue skills were their skills, and racial characteristics had an impact on your rogue skills.
Mhm.
So you could be a halfling rogue and a elf rogue, and just inherently because of race, there was differences in what they were better at.
Yeah, like if you ever needed to climb a sheer wall, you had to have a rogue in the group. It's one of those that
Right.
you look at that wall and there's no way anyone but a rogue could climb that wall.
But you didn't necessarily want a halfling rogue because they got like a negative 15 to their climb
They're
walls.
sneaky but not climby.
Well, they just don't have the reach to get all the handholds. So
To their
but-
eyes, it is twice the size.
yeah, so that was the cool thing. Yeah, I'm a rogue, but I'm a halfling. Sorry, I'm not climbing that. My stats are shit. But hey, that long, lanky elf, he's going to be good.
Yeah, you want to carry me up there? That would be great.
And then your
okay,
armor.
warrior, carry the halfling up.
Yeah. And then your armor had an impact on all your rogue skills depending on the armor.
Mm-hmm.
And so I liked that aspect, that there was more variances and kind of those aspects there with some of the races. And I don't know. I guess I kind of liked limitation on what you could play a little bit.
Yeah, there was less gonzo choices, but I do think in second edition you still had that you get experience for the gold you loot too.
Yeah.
I think it still had that rule in place.
Yeah.
I think
But like if you're a halfling, you only had like certain class choices. If you were an
Yeah.
elf, you had certain class choices. And
Yeah.
the only thing the one aspect that I don't think we ever followed that I didn't necessarily like was the level limits by race.
Yeah. That they cap out.
So like, yeah, like an elf could only go to like 5th level cleric or something. And that was kind of weird.
Especially considering how long elves live.
Right.
But you would retire from adventuring long before that.
What, did you take an arrow to the knee?
Yeah. But humans
It's
could go
an
all
elf.
the way up. Yeah, but the demi-humans were kind of expected. Okay, so you're going to do rogue for a bit, and then you're going to become an elf or a wizard, and then so they were like the natural multi-classer.
Yeah, pretty
yeah,
much
but
like
you
when
didn't have as much multi-classing. back then.
Well, actually, you had two elements. You had multi-classing and you had dual classing.
Yeah.
So I think that your demis could multi-class, which mean both classes leveled. But I think like a human and a couple of the races could dual class, which means I went to a fighter at up to 8th level, stopped, then became X.
Mm-hmm. Or heck,
So there was two mechanics. There was like one you could only go to a point, stop, and then you no longer got experience in that, and you started your next class. But like elves and that could multi-class, but you split your XP between the classes.
Yeah, because like the elf is doing fighter, wizard.
Right. But I got 10 XP. I got 5 here and 5 there.
Hey, I got one for you. Remember when you die and lose levels?
Yeah.
Or worse,
Yeah.
the bad guys that would drain levels off of you?
Oh, I hated that so much. Like when we were playing 5th edition and Jim brought out one of the floating head, it was the Wraith. In one of the instances, and I'm like, oh no, I don't want to lose levels. And I was like freaking out. I was like, no.
And then she fights it in 5th level, and she's like, it just drains some hit points. That's it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And he's like, no, it doesn't drain your levels anymore. And I'm like, what?
Because back then the goal was, if I drained you to 0, you are now a Wraith.
Yeah, it was. I was like, no, don't.
It was a brutal system. And then the weapon speeds, if you use that, you got a dagger. You just stabbed me like 6 times, and I'm finally swinging my glaive on the second round of combat.
I was a huge fan of the weapon speed. I love that mechanic.
Oh, I do.
Your rogue comes up with the 2 daggers and just goes snicker snack while the guy with the battle axe is still grunting and getting it over her shoulder.
Yeah.
I know.
Then I did, and the armor was cool because you actually went, okay, so this is leather, and they're using a bladed weapon, so you actually have negative bonuses to the armor because of edged weapons, but you got really good protection against like blunt weapons.
Yeah.
So you got a bonus to blunt weapons because certain armors protect against different things better.
That's where your nail and your splint come in really differently.
Yeah, but a lot of math.
Yep, a lot of math, and it was all about trying out new rules. I mean, that's the way I always felt when I was playing it. Is they were totally testing out the rules and see how well they played. Because that's one thing that still bugs me with 5th is we don't have a lot of variety, so you don't get the like dwarven tower shields, elven ironbark,
Right.
Which is one thing I do like about Terranoth for the Genesis setting is you totally have, if it's this material, you get this added to your thing. So it goes back to that old feel where the setting actually has effects.
Yep. Well, I just miss having regular bow and composite bows.
Mm-hmm. I mean, a bow that uses strength instead of dex.
Yep. So, yeah, it was good. But, and I learned so much math in that that I hated in school.
Just math.
Like, I hate math. But, we're playing D&D? Hell yeah.
Well, actually, one of the reasons why we really encouraged my nephew to roll, to do the games with us was because, it would get math in there for
Well, it's math, reading, comprehension, theater, teamwork, leadership. I mean, a gambit of skills and talents that you learn from it.
Yeah, and he gamed with us, but it wasn't really until he found out his friends gamed that he really got into it heavy. Because of course, it's much cooler playing with your friends than.
Well, of course. No, that's why I'm super excited that they have like what, 5 tables now on Saturday on the youth
Yep.
Saturdays at the
Over at
TGG.
TGG.
Yeah, they're loaded. And that's awesome.
Because we need to make sure we foster the next generation of gamers.
Exactly.
And then we'll find out one day if 5th edition is the last edition of D&D, or will Wizards of the Coast sneak in a 6th before they know what's going on.
I don't know, man. All these offshoot games that people are creating, I don't know.
Yep. I mean, we're in like a second golden age of RPGs, you know. Everybody and their brother's coming up with a system.
And they're all real weird, and I love it.
Yeah. Well, because they got to stay away from any. They're like, okay, screw this. We're going to have nothing that in any way relates to D&D.
Monty Cook Games is putting out a bunch of them, and a lot of them are just completely unrelated horror broadcasts that I listen to. Like 3 of them have come out in the last year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Old Gods of Appalachia and the Magnus Archives. And there's another one I hadn't remembered.
And the
I'm intrigued about the one with the Appalachia.
The Old Gods of yeah.
Old Gods of Appalachia is gorgeous. I love it's such a thematically fantastic podcast.
Nice. But
even
they're
had
tweaking mechanics and everything.
I had to laugh that Hasbro, who owns Wizards of the Coast, is actually coming out with their own RPG for all the TV shows that they own from the 80s.
Oh, really?
And
that's just...
It totally feels like a Savage World takeoff, because you buy into dice, but you do it reversed of what Savage World does. So you're a D12 if you're bad at something, but you're a D4 if you're great at something. Because you have to roll under the target number.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like a mixture of Savage Worlds and Cthulhu.
Mm-hmm. And of course,
but I think some of them are trying to go away from even dice or even anything related to the similar D12 20s and all that, just because they don't even want that mechanic associated from D&D.
Yeah, they're trying to separate from the D20 system, you know.
But it sounds like a desperate grasping at more money than serious.
Well, that's what killed them on that last, when they tried to change the rules. It was all about money, because they just said that the whole reason they're doing this subscription thing was they're not making enough money because people buy their shit and they're done, and then they just play. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden now we're going after the rules, and now we're going to attack all the people that have been making content for them all these years. And so people are like, well, screw that. And now they're screwing with the AI generated stuff.
Yeah. That's the latest one that's pissing people off. It's like all these game companies said no AI stuff, and they're like, we're not saying no yet.
Yeah, but they're saying, well, I don't know, they're trying to claim something on the AI created artwork.
Yeah.
That they have some kind of rights if it's similar to D&D or some bullshit or something. I don't know. It's just like, okay, dudes. Yeah. You're really wanting to piss everybody off, aren't you?
Wizard.
Yeah, it's like they're going out of their way, you know.
Yeah. Well, Hasbro, they're greedy.
Yep. I mean, that, and they're using the pay-to-play mechanic that most cell phone games and certain video games use to try to.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And microcharges.
Microtransactions.
Yep. Yep.
That is not the old D&D that we were talking about that we used to play.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, that's like Pathfinder.
And it's not in the spirit of D&D.
Yeah, it's like Pathfinder. All their shit digitally and everything. They're like, here you go.
We know you're gonna pirate it anyway, so let's be cool.
Yeah, they have an amazing app to make characters with for your phone and online. And,
see, that's one I appreciate, when they have character builders built up, so that way you can get to the game quicker,
Yeah, and it's all free.
And they have, people who are fans of the Pathfinder are very loyal.
Yes, they are.
I don't want to have to write a dissertation to play a game. Oh,
It's not quite that bad. But you know what, though? Actually, if you use the phone app, it makes leveling and all that stuff so easy.
And remember that Pathfinder came about because WotC tried to pull the same shit they did these last couple years, 15, 20 years ago.
Yep.
It's the exact same thing.
3.5.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Well,
They're like, we're gonna make the proper D&D.
And Pathfinder is going strong with a very loyal fan base.
Yeah.
And the others are just engendering ill will.
Yeah. Have any of you played Pathfinder yet? The new Pathfinder?
I have
No,
not played second edition, but I've read some of the books.
Yeah. It's definitely a little more crunchy, but it's feel definitely back to 2 to 3.5 ish. Skills come in much more into the game,
which is important.
So every time you level, you're not just getting spells, you're getting actual skills that are related to either your career, your racial, or general, and a lot of them feed off of prior skills to be able to get
synergize.
Yeah, and so it opens up a lot more activity to do in combat, based off of skills and other things. So it's I kind of like it.
I mean, that is one thing I miss from 3.5 is the skill points.
Yeah.
Because if you played a rogue, you had skills everlasting. Whereas nowadays, you really still don't have that many skills.
One of the other things I liked from 3.5 were skill synergies, where you could get your jump skill up to 5 points, and then you'd get a benefit to your tumble or whatever.
Yep. Right. +2 on top of it.
Yeah. No, it's kind of cool. So your base. Well, you got feats, which feed by racial and that. Then you got your skills. So the skills, which there's a bunch of them, if they have tiers. So there's trained, untrained, trained. I forget, skilled and mastered or something like that, which gets you bigger bonuses. And it's built into it's baked into the leveling based on your class and things on when you can move certain skills to, skilled and master and stuff like that. And then there's abilities that you can do based on a skill. So if you have, say, medicine, well, there's some stuff you can do if you're untrained in medicine, some basic stuff that actions you can take. But if you're trained, then there's other actions more advanced actions you can take if you're trained in that in medicine. And that's with all of the skills.
Yes, but it's far less interesting if you are trained in medicine when you're trying to apply it. But it's way better if you don't know what you're doing at all.
Here, stick your finger in this. Hold it there till I say move it.
Like one of the things you can do if you're trained, you can actually do battle you can unlock the feat battle medicine, which allows you to heal during combat without, mechanically, not spells. But if you're not trained in medicine, then you can never ever use that ability. You can only do a basic heal out of combat. So it's kind of cool like that.
Yeah, I know with the Starfinder one shot I got into, I saw how that one worked pretty well.
Yeah, Starfinder is kind of cool, the mix of magic and races and stuff in space, but they need to fix the frickin' space combat. It was way too clunky.
You mean the fact that they don't have space combat?
No, there is, but okay, so we moved 5 hexes, and that took an hour.
Two ships
and we shot
moving like an Atari game towards each other.
Yeah, and we shot twice in those 5 turns, and yeah, it's super clunky unless they fix that. So most people are probably going to avoid any kind of actual space combat, but
Yeah.
But I've done the intro module, and it was fun.
Hmm. And when you get to play cute little guys that look like Stitch, I mean, how can you not have fun?
I think I was the bug dude.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I was the bug race. I was a technomancer, I think it was. So kind of tech magic,
Hmm.
which was kind of a cool concept.
Totally have
Tech
that.
and magic.
Have that creepy 40K feel. I will
Yeah.
speak to the machine spirits.
Yeah. But intro for the average people, D&D, the 5e, which I do enjoy, but is slightly basic. And it kind of it's simplified to the point that it's like, yeah, you can be a different type of clerics and stuff like that, but you could actually be a party of all fighters with different with different specs and kind of get along, because everybody has heals now.
Mm-hmm.
That where in like Pathfinder, not everybody has heals. The cleric is the healer, pretty much, period. And
Yep.
it's kind of all they do almost, but at least what I'm seeing so far with our one healer, it's like we got to constantly, like, oh no, there's monsters, everybody get in front of me. Like, really, dude?
Not my face,
Like, really?
not my face.
But he heals like a mofo. So, but 5e, it's like everybody has some kind of a like innate class heal, some kind of healing for this, and then you got, it's, I don't know.
I like it because then you're not just a heal bot. The healer can branch out a little.
Right, but technically you don't even need a healer because everybody has some basic built-in innate healing.
If you have a druid,
but that's a one-shot practice.
And a bard, boom, you're done.
Yeah, see, I like playing a bard because I get to augment. Not just in, if there's a backup heal if we need, but more, here's bardic inspiration and, song of rest for after the fight and stuff.
Yeah, but again, you could create a party of all bards and have all the basic skills kind of covered.
I so want to do that sometime. I think that would be a hoot.
Well, that are all party of clerics. You can have, there's the trickster cleric, so that does a fair job at replacing the thief. You got your Tempest in War, which does pretty darn good as a fighter type. Obviously you got your light and what's healing or whatever. I forget the other one, but that's your healer. You got a knowledge cleric, like your master of skills and knowledge, and so you could literally do an all cleric party and have most things covered.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've joked about doing the one class pony parties, all paladins or all bards or all clerics.
Yeah.
And
it'd be fun.
You could do it and have a friggin' blast with them too. I mean, with the 6+ specs for each one, there's always variety that they can always be different.
Yeah. The paladin one would be kind of fun, especially if you kind of flavored it off of, anybody ever read is it Eddings, the Diamond Throne?
Oh yeah.
The five orders of paladin.
Mm-hmm.
And then magic, of course, was a restricted thing because the Styrics used magic, but the Styrics taught the paladins magic to fight the magic.
And then the paladins said, "You guys suck."
But you had your standard, like Sparhawk was like the standard epitome of like the basic paladin, but then you had the troll, the Viking northern paladins that spoke trollish and fought the trolls, and they each had different flavors, but they were all kind of this basic order of paladins. So that was kind of fun.
And it goes back to keep your oath or you lose your power.
Yeah. But yeah, if you haven't read that series, it's really, I thought, well done. Because
The
she had
only
like
edits
Spar.
I read was the Belgariad
Oh yeah,
and
well that's
the
always that's a great one.
Valorian.
Yeah, that's a long set of books, but so good. I keep thinking about going back and doing that. I think it's Edding Diamond Throne. Let's see.
Now I'm like super tempted to see if they've got audio.
No, it is. It is David Eddings. The Diamond Throne. It's really cool. But like one of the aspects I really like, because people always have a problem with playing Paladin, right? At least the old religious Paladin. They're like, oh, they're lawful good and everything else, but like Sparhawk actually interacted with the Thieves Guild and did stuff, and because you kind of got to sometimes use certain things to protect the city and contacts and stuff. So he did associate with.
Sometimes you gotta deal with the devil.
Yeah, but I have now that I learned about David Eddings and his wife, I find it hard to go back to.
No, I hadn't heard any of that. Okay.
Oh, they were jailed for child abuse.
Wow.
And things just took a dark turn.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, I hadn't heard that. That's a bummer, but I mean, some damn good books.
Yeah, no, the Paul Guerra character I loved so much.
Well, that whole series, the depth of all the different cultures and the cities and the things going on, and it was just like, holy crap. Because how many books was there in that?
Well, the Belgariad was, I think, 5 books?
Yeah, but that whole thing ran into like a whole.
And then you had the Malorian, which was also, and then you had the 2 other ones, which were Polgara and Belgarath.
Yeah.
Belgarath the Sorcerer, I should specify.
Yep.
And see here, also, but no, I mean, when I was young, I loved the series.
Yeah. It was pretty deep. Like I said, they got. You had all the different kingdoms and their different little nuances going on.
I love that. It's funny because there was, Prince Radic.
Vaguely remember now. Like I said, I read that when I was like
18, 19. Then I actually had a manager, and that was his last name. And I'm like, so it was like every time I kept thinking of the character, I just thought that was really funny. Spelt exactly.
But the Diamond Throne series, that I think the Diamond Throne's the very first one. It's such an if you like the Paladin concept, it's such an awesome series. It's really fun, the interactions and the different aspects of Paladin and stuff. So, awesome set.
Now I want to go re-listen to it.
Right. But I'm always up for like short campaign or whatever you want to do for, if you want to do a all class campaign.
I would love to do it. Like if it was a Paladin one, I've always wanted to play a halfling Paladin riding a war dog, but like for like the god of trickery or something, something, different,
Well, Paladin, though, it's your oaths, so it would be a matter of breaking up the oaths, which are a little different because now they're not religious, which I don't like, but.
Yeah.
This is technically divine. I mean, paladins are like clerics, they're divine.
They use divine, but they're technically an oath, not a god.
Yeah, like you now have the one of the Oath of Order of basically you believe in law. That's your holy shtick is the law.
Yeah.
Which is like the ancients is basically the old green code, the Elven wood code,
Yep.
Or Totally, if you're a Game of Thrones fan, it's the old way, you know.
Yep. And then you got the vengeance.
Yep.
Oath.
And then conquest.
So, yep. So their oaths, they took God out of the picture technically, though they still use divine magic. So.
Yeah.
And it would be so easy to do a group of bards. Come on, you're a traveling group of musicians, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You're a
Well,
theater
not
trope that comes
musicians.
into a town that has outlawed dance.
Entertainers, yeah, because they don't all have to be.
Because
not all
if I'm
bards are musicians.
Yes, if I'm a sword cleric or a bard, the sword college, then my skills and entertainment is sword skill.
Mm-hmm. You're theatrical.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go into a town where they tell you that dance has been outlawed.
Right.
And it's Footloose meets D&D.
But that would be fun. Everybody taking a different aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would that would be a lot of fun. I'm more partial to the bard though, just because I do love bards. But I would be totally down for that. Or a group of all clerics. You know, you have the cleric of, you know, because you have the battle clerics, you have the, you know, Healy clerics, you have the, you know, Tempest ones. I would also be very much interested into, you know, something like that too.
Yeah, those two. What were you gonna say, Eric? Sorry, I know we're like dominating here.
No, you're fine. I forgot. I'm good.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say.
You're Kelly.
The whole campaign starts off with a giant, trip to the Mecca of the Church of Light, which is all the good clerics, and you go there to the temple and find out the bad clerics showed up and, you know, decimated everyone but you guys.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, what do you, I mean, because some people don't like the grave cleric, but I'm like, that's not evil.
Oh, no.
No. Yeah, it's not a death cleric. There's a totally different shtick. I mean, like, grave clerics go out of their way to hunt the undead.
We have a cleric of the grave in one of our Saturday games, monthly game.
They just understand the balance of life and death.
Awesome.
And stuff.
Circle of life, man. Circle of life. I mean, you can technically look at a cleric of the grave as almost like a druidic cleric, that life comes in cycles. Death is just part of the cycle.
Yep.
I mean, hell, part of their powers are they can make you succeed on your death save. That's not death. That's the grave.
Yeah, bard, cleric. You could probably, I think even with the mage, you could kind of do an all mage because there's some battle-ish mages, so...
Totally have a Harry Potter school. Mr. Potter.
But it would be ideal for the session 0 to be the character, you know, it's like so that not everybody has the same cantrips. Not everybody, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
We have not as much overlap.
I don't know. I think you figure out who wants to be what type of cleric or what type of bard, but the spells from there, it's kind of up to them, and the party figures it out. But that's kind of the problem when you got a bunch of clerics traveling. There's going to be certain things that they're just all going to have. Everybody's guiding bolt. Holy fuck, poor monster.
Well, it is the
and
best
this mockery
cleric
is awesome.
spell.
I love it.
I mean, the fact that I would hit it with Guiding Bolt, give you advantage to guarantee yours hits, which then gives Kelly advantage to guarantee hers hit, and then Eric would be like, how many hit points does this thing have left? Toll the dead. That's all we need to do.
Right? Yeah. Or you got the one cleric that, I think there's one of them that does kind of Arcana, right? I forget what it's.
Yeah, knowledge one.
So then you got the one cleric going, everybody's Guiding Bolt, and you're like, Firebolt. Like, what the fuck? Like, really, dude? Come on. Get with the party.
Where did that fireball come from?
It's like, you can't throw Firebolt. Everybody's doing Guiding Lights cantrip, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Guiding Bolt.
Yeah, it's like, come on, people. It's this Firebolt. Got to be the oddball.
My god is about magic.
I tell you what, though,
Thoth. He knows things.
the Cleric of Knowledge is pretty damn good.
Yep. And it does make up for one of the weak spots of a lot of the other classes. If you don't have a mage or an artificer, it totally makes up for the, hey, here's a skill I'm just good at because God of Knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, they got like, oh, wait, we need somebody that speaks this. Oh, we need somebody that knows about that. Oh, yeah, I know it all.
You know, there's always that one guy. He meditates, slings spells, and knows things. That's his job.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember. Tried a campaign where I tried to create one, and I don't know, something happened with the campaign, but yeah, he was this scholarly, like, years in the books and doing stuff, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, we need your knowledge in the field. It's like, oh shit. And he's like out there with his brand new armor and weapons, and he's like, shit, this stuff's uncomfortable. It's like, where's my bed?
I need to go back and be cloistered.
It's like, yeah, it's like, oh, he has like brand new armor that's never been worn in. They're broken in. It's like, yeah, that looks uncomfortable.
What do you mean we have to tramp through the fields?
Right? Yeah, no, he was definitely like, prima donna and stuff, like, whining about the heat, whining about that, because he'd been cloistered and, in the libraries for years. So it was fun. What little bit I played, but I don't remember what happened.
Now there's more game ideas. Why must there always be more game ideas? And never enough hours in the day.
No shit. It's all Eric's fault.
That's true.
So it is 9 o'clock, so I'll say it's probably a good time to wrap up.
Yeah.
And I think we definitely covered it is D&D, because, can't think of anything I've played longer than D that is still in play,
No.
Damn you,
Speaking
D&D!
Speaking of D&D, and if you have Steam, the Baldur's Gate 3, pretty damn good. It's very D&D, the whole mechanics, the whole works.
I've been hearing nothing but ridiculously good things about it.
Yeah, it's really, really good, and it is multiplayer capable. Party of 4. Cool. Yeah. So if you're looking for a game, I would still probably wait until, I think I bought it in beta quite some time ago. I forgot. They're like, wait, it's releasing? Didn't I play that? It's like, oh yeah, I played it in beta a little bit, but buy the beta. But I would wait maybe until it's on sale, but definitely a worthwhile buy. It's very well done, and the mechanics is very D&D.
Yeah, that was one thing I liked with the PlayStation 4 one. It really did have the D&D mechanics built in.
Yeah.
Why reinvent the wheel when you have it's like the old Republic Star Wars games. It literally had the D20 system in there.
Yeah. Now this has everything. You roll your dice. You get to look at your bonuses. If somebody can cast guidance in the party, you can choose to add guidance or bardic inspiration, and yeah, it's very well done, and lots of good voice acting scenes and stuff. So if you're looking for a new game,
lots of crazy things. I've seen some really crazy screenshots already.
Yeah. Oh no, the graphics are great. So if you're looking for a game to play and you like that kind of game, well worth it.
See, Kelly, if you want to get off of WoW and go to D&D, it is your birthday.
There you go. You guys can do a campaign together.
I'm in the middle of a time rift. A few minutes.
Such dilemmas. So that's my little plug for D&D alternate options.
Hey, Baldur's Gate 3. I mean, it's Baldur's Gate. It comes from a long line of great games.
It is, yeah, very much that. And Mind Flayers and Githyanki. You can actually play a Githyanki.
Oh yeah, I saw some of the things that is, they're like, if you do this, you can unlock this.
Yep.
I'm like, these are going to be dangerous.
All right, all. Have a wonderful night. It was nice chatting.
Alrighty, guys. Go out and drink it if you got it, because it is the weekend now officially.
Oh, yeah. I've already started my second.
Have a good night, guys.
All right. Have a good night.
Night. Bye.
Night.